Hello, my name's AJ, and if you're like me, you see crafty stuff on TikTok and you're like, how hard could that be? Well, let me tell you, I tried resin casting, and I want to take you through that magical journey of trial and error to get kind of sort of close to what I was trying to go for. So, full disclosure, the project that I was going for was a shifter knob for my new to me used Toyota 86. The first idea I had was I was thinking, well, I've been playing a lot of old video games lately. What if I took a mold of a Nintendo controller, right, and then turn that into a gear shifter? That might be kind of cool. I stand by that. It might be kind of cool. My attempt didn't necessarily work out. Now, the first product that I tried to use was this two-part putty that makes a pressable mold, something like this, right? Now, some of the mistakes that I made while trying to implement this was the way I laid it down. Instead of laying the putty down and getting it ready and then like pressing the object into it, I tried to just kind of squish it over the object, and it made some nasty corners, some pitting inside here, and some bad folds. And so anywhere that there was a cavity, that epoxy went into, and it made a misshaped uh, object. I then later went back and then tried to make a platform to actually put the screw post through, um, and that didn't really seal, so it leaked everywhere. Also, a big mistake that I seem to keep having with these epoxy projects, and I'm seeing that right here, is I was using a two-part epoxy, which I'm going to show you guys. It's this brand right here, Craft Smart clear casting resin. It's a 1-to-1, I guess, resin and hardener or activator. I don't know, but you can't just throw them together and be like, yeah, that's good, because they will never fully cure. This thing has been done for over a week and it's still sticky. And the reason why, the mistakes I made on this, see, if you look at this, it had potential to be pretty cool, right? So I had the wire coming out of it is actually an LED. Then I embedded into it, and that works. I can plug that up and it comes on. I had this whole idea, and it was going to be super cool. But what I did wrong here is these dyes that you can buy to dye your clear resin to make either opaque or clear colors and pigments in your resin. You got to mix that stuff up. I thought I could try to just kind of do like you would do with dye and let it bleed out and everything. And what that does is it displaces the active resin. And there's pits in here inside, like these little buttons and these little areas inside the D-pad that you can touch. You see, there's black. It's still not dry. I don't know what it's made of, but that stuff doesn't dry at all. And the you have to suspend that dye by mixing it properly into this two part. So I'll say again, like, mixing properly is the number one thing you got to do, right? If you don't mix it, it's not going to act right. And when you're looking at it, it's a clear epoxy resin. You're going to see the two parts come together. It's going to get cloudy, and you're going to keep mixing, and then it's going to turn clearer. It's not going to be all the way clear because there's going to be bubbles in it. Now the bubbles are a whole nother thing that I'm going to get to here in a second. So attempt number two, I was like, let's make a simpler idea. It's a shifter. By this time I'd already started driving this car, and I said, well, this thing was going to be ridiculous and too damn big anyway. So I said, let's find a ball, right? Let's find a ball. And so you had to find the right size balls. This is a ping pong ball. This is one of the ones that I made. And then I said I wanted to do like a ball within a ball, so I'm going to need multiple molds. Well, this time I used a two-part latex mold maker called Amazing Mold Maker. It comes in two parts. It's just like the epoxy. It's 1-to-1. It's red and white. And again, you want to mix that stuff until it's a homogeneous mixture and there's no streaks in there. I did much better with this stuff than I did with the yellow stuff. And then to make the molds, I used the cups, the little mixing cups that you can use, and they were just kind of perfect. can see here, it's about the size that I wanted, and that seemed to work out pretty good. Then there was the experimentation of finding the right shape. Let me show you attempt number 2. I had this, still want to stay with the video game theme, right? So I went with Boo from Super Mario Brothers. And you can see there's 2 basic mistakes that I made with this one. One being, I did not mix my epoxy properly. And you can see how lumpy Boo is. I hope you can get some good details in that. Boo turned out that way because the resin never really hardened the way it should have. So it didn't cure properly, and then you can't really tell that this is a ball within a ball, and that's because the smaller ball on the inside that makes up Boo's body is too close to the outside, and the lens effect just takes up the extra space. So I learned from that. So the smaller inner ball to make Boo's body out of, I said, well, we'll make that even smaller, and the lens effect will make it bigger, and you can get this floating effect. Also, we're going to mix our epoxy properly. We're going to mix our dyes properly. We're going to mix our epoxy properly. And now I'm going to show you what I've got, what I think I'm actually going to go with, which is this guy right here. So you see, it looks like he's floating in a little bubble. He's got the little well-formed platform down here. Now, when this one came out of the mold, it still had more than 1 day to fully cure, but this thing came out nice and solid. The only issue that I could say even was an issue is that there's actually, you can see the bubbles in there. And so I don't know, I may try this again. I mean, I've got more epoxy, of course, and I've got the molds. I can always make another one. And I may try some different vibration techniques to try to vibrate out some of those bubbles. I know that when you're doing a wide open epoxy spread, you can put heat down on top of it, and that will make the bubbles pop and expand and come out of your resin. But being that these are kind of encased, because it's a sphere, so there's a top of it, I don't know how this thing would respond to heat. I didn't experiment with that. I could, I guess. But I want to try vibration, see if I can shake the bubbles to the surface and get them out if I the next time I try to make one of these. But this one turned out pretty good. I think we're going to use this one, and I'm really happy with it. I think it's going to make the shifter in my car look like something unique that you don't get every day. Well, anyway, that's where I'm at with my resin casting career. It's a new craft. I'm having a lot of fun with it. I hope that I've said something that maybe will help you in the future avoid some pitfalls. If you found any of this interesting or helpful, throw me a like, follow, subscribe, whatever you want to do. If you just want to leave me a comment and say, go Team Boo, Mario villains are the best. Anyway, goodbye.